When the Kilari found our ships, Commander Sarah Chen pressed her palm against the cool metal wall of the observation deck aboard the UES Endeavour. 3 years into humanity's first deep space exploration mission beyond the outer planets, she had grown comfortable with the endless black void. But today felt different. Today, the stars seemed to be watching back. "Commander, you need to see this." Lieutenant Marcus Rodriguez's voice crackled through the intercom, carrying an edge she had never heard before. Sarah had served with Marcus for 8 years, through the Mars colonies and the Jupiter mining operations. He was steady, unflappable. If something had rattled him, it was worth immediate attention. Sarah made her way through the corridors of the Endeavour, past the humming life support systems and the gentle whoosh of air recyclers. The ship was humanity's pride, a marvel of engineering that could sustain 300 souls for years in the depths of space. Water reclamation systems, atmospheric processors, waste management, hydroponic space. Everything designed to keep humans alive and healthy in the hostile environment of deep space. The bridge buzzed with unusual activity. Every station was occupied, and the main display showed something that made Sarah's breath catch. A massive structure hung in space ahead of them, clearly artificial, clearly not human. It was elegant in a way human engineering had never achieved. Crystalline formations that seemed to grow rather than be built, pulsing with soft, colored lights. "How long has it been there?" Sarah asked, settling into her command chair. "It appeared approximately 47 minutes ago," replied Dr. Elena Vasquez, the ship's science officer. "No warning, no energy signatures we could detect. One moment empty space, the next." She gestured at the display. "Have we attempted communication?" "Yes, Commander. Standard first contact protocols across all frequencies. No response until..." Elena paused, consulting her readings. 3 minutes ago, we received this." The speakers filled with a sound unlike anything Sarah had ever heard. It was musical, almost crystalline, like wind chimes made of precious metals. But beneath the beauty was structure, pattern, meaning. "The computer's been trying to decode it," Marcus added. "Best guess is that it's a greeting, possibly an invitation." Sarah studied the alien vessel. It was enormous, easily 10 times the size of the Endeavour. If these beings meant harm, resistance would be futile. But the ship's design spoke of artistry, not aggression. "Send our standard peaceful contact message. All languages, mathematical sequences, and the cultural package we prepared for this possibility." Within minutes, the alien vessel responded. This time, the crystalline sounds were accompanied by visual displays on every screen aboard the Endeavour. Geometric patterns shifted and flowed, creating meaning through mathematics and art combined. "They're fast learners," Elena breathed. "This is incredible. They've already begun to decode our mathematical references and are building a translation protocol." Over the next several hours, basic communication was established. The aliens called themselves the Kilari, and they were explorers like the humans, though they had been traveling between stars for thousands of years. They expressed curiosity about human civilization and requested permission to send a small delegation aboard the Endeavour for cultural exchange. Sarah agreed, and preparations began immediately. The docking bay was cleared, atmospheric samples were exchanged to ensure compatibility, and the senior staff gathered to welcome humanity's first alien visitors. The Kilari delegation arrived in a small craft that seemed to flow rather than fly. 3 beings emerged, and Sarah was struck by their beauty. They were tall and slender, with skin that appeared to be made of living crystal. Their forms were roughly humanoid but moved with a fluid grace that was mesmerizing. Each wore what appeared to be environmental suits, though they seemed more like elegant robes than protective gear. The lead Kilari approached Sarah and spoke in a voice that sounded like distant music. The translation device they carried rendered the words in perfect English. "I am Harmony Keepersenth. We greet you, beings of the vessel Endeavour. Your presence in the void brings joy to our exploration matrix. Welcome aboard. Sarah replied warmly. "I am Commander Sarah Chen. We're honored to meet you and excited to learn about your people." The cultural exchange began in the ship's main conference room. The Kilari were fascinated by human technology, though Sarah noticed they seemed puzzled by many aspects of the ship's design. They asked detailed questions about the atmospheric systems, water reclamation, and waste processing. "Your life support systems are most unusual," Zenth observed, studying a schematic Dr. Vasquez had provided. "These chambers where you expose yourselves to liquid hydrogen oxide daily. What is their function?" Sarah exchanged glances with her officers. "You mean our showers? They're for personal hygiene. We clean ourselves with water." The three Kilari suddenly stepped back from the table, their crystalline forms flickering with rapid color changes. Zenth's translator seemed to struggle with rapid, panicked speech before settling on. You deliberately expose yourselves to the universal solvent. For pleasure." "Not pleasure exactly," Sarah said slowly, sensing she had somehow said something wrong. "For health and cleanliness. Water removes dirt, bacteria, dead skin cells. It's essential for preventing disease." The color shifting among the Kilari intensified. One of Zenth's companions spoke rapidly in their musical language. The translator caught fragments. Systematic purification. Deliberate molecular breakdown. Like the ancient warnings. "Is something wrong?" Sarah asked, genuinely concerned. "Have we offended you somehow?" Zenth seemed to regain composure, though the color fluctuations continued. "Forgive us. Your practices are unexpected. We must consult with our vessel. May we return to continue this cultural exchange after we have processed this information." The Kilari delegation departed quickly, leaving the human crew confused and concerned. Sarah called an immediate senior staff meeting. "What just happened?" she asked the assembled officers. Dr. Vasquez pulled up the conversation records. They seemed particularly interested in our water usage, waste processing, and cleaning procedures. But their reaction to the word shower was extreme. "Maybe their species doesn't use water," suggested Marcus. "If they're silicon-based life forms, water might be harmful to them." Chief Engineer Tom Bradley, who had joined the meeting, nodded thoughtfully. "That would make sense. Silicon dioxide plus water creates acid. If they're crystalline beings, our entire water-based life support system might seem like a weapon to them." Sarah felt a chill. "A weapon? Think about it, Commander. We've got water flowing through every system on this ship. We spray it on ourselves daily. We use it to break down waste products. We've essentially built a ship around something that might be deadly to them." The implications were staggering. Sarah ordered increased monitoring of the Kilari vessel and prepared for the possibility that first contact had gone terribly wrong. Hours passed with no communication from the Kilari ship. Then suddenly, the alien vessel began moving. But instead of approaching for continued contact, it accelerated away from the Endeavor at impossible speeds. "They're transmitting," Marcus reported urgently. "Massive data bursts, directed toward what appears to be multiple coordinates throughout this region of space." Elena's face went pale as she analyzed the transmission patterns. "Commander, these aren't random communications. The patterns suggest emergency protocols. They're warning someone about us." As if to confirm her analysis, more Kilari vessels began appearing throughout the system. Not the elegant exploration ship they had first encountered, but darker, more angular craft that radiated purpose and power. "Red alert," Sarah ordered. "All hands to stations. Prepare for possible hostilities." The lead Kilari vessel established communication one final time. Zenth's image appeared on the main screen, but the elegant being now appeared frightened, desperate. "Beings of the Endeavor," the translation began, "we have consulted our archives and confirmed our fears. You are the purifiers spoken of in our oldest warnings. Your ship carries the tools of planetary cleansing, and you wield the universal solvent as casually as we manipulate light. We cannot allow your kind to spread this dissolution to inhabited worlds." "Wait," Sarah called out. "You don't understand. We're not weapons. We're explorers, just like you." But the transmission had ended. The Kilari vessels moved into formation around the Endeavour, clearly preparing for action. Sarah stared at the tactical display showing dozens of alien ships surrounding her vessel. Somehow, humanity's basic survival needs had been interpreted as the tools of galactic conquest. Their showers, their water recycling, their waste management, all of it seen as evidence that humans were a species designed for purifying worlds of life. "All stations report ready, Commander," Marcus said quietly. Sarah nodded grimly. Humanity had reached for the stars seeking knowledge and friendship. Instead, they had been labeled as destroyers by beings who couldn't understand that what was poison to them was life itself to humans. The war none of them wanted was about to begin, built upon the most fundamental misunderstanding in galactic history. As the first energy beams lanced out from the Kilari vessels, Sarah realized that humanity's greatest strength, their adaptability and use of resources deadly to other species, had become their greatest liability in a universe full of beings who couldn't comprehend how anything could survive in such hostile conditions. The Endeavour shuddered under the first alien attack, and humanity's age of innocence in the cosmos came to an abrupt end. The species they called purifiers. The emergency klaxons aboard the Endeavour wailed as Commander Sarah Chen gripped her command chair. The ship bucked under another barrage from the Kilari vessels, sparks cascading from damaged control panels. In the space of 6 hours, humanity had gone from peaceful first contact to fighting for survival against an enemy they still didn't understand. Shields down to 60%. Chief Engineer Tom Bradley reported, his voice strained over the intercom from the engine room. "These crystalline energy beams are unlike anything we've encountered. They seem designed to disrupt our molecular bonds." Sarah watched the tactical display as more Kilari ships continued to arrive through what appeared to be some form of faster-than-light travel. The elegant vessels she had first admired now revealed their true nature, sophisticated war machines that moved with deadly precision. "Commander," Dr. Elena Vasquez called from her science station, "I'm detecting massive communication arrays activating throughout this system. The Kilari aren't just attacking us. They're broadcasting our location and ship specifications across multiple star systems. They're calling for reinforcements," Lieutenant Marcus Rodriguez added grimly. "Energy signatures suggest at least 40 more vessels inbound." Sarah's mind raced. The Endeavour was a research vessel, not a warship. They carried defensive systems for asteroid debris and small meteoroids, not weapons capable of engaging alien battle fleets. Yet somehow, they had been marked as such a significant threat that an advanced civilization was mobilizing massive resources to contain them. "Cease fire and open all communication channels," Sarah ordered. "We need to find out exactly what they think we are." The Kilari responded immediately. Harmony Keeper Zenth appeared on the main screen, but the being she had met just hours earlier was transformed. The elegant crystalline features now pulsed with agitated colors, and the translator struggled to keep up with rapid, panicked speech. "Species of the vessel Endeavour, you will power down all purification systems immediately. Any attempt to deploy your cleansing protocols will result in your immediate destruction." "Zenth, please listen to me," Sarah said, stepping forward. "I don't know what purification systems you're referring to. We're not carrying any weapons. We came here in peace." The alien's form flickered with what appeared to be disbelief. "Your entire vessel is a weapon. Your atmospheric systems, your liquid processing chambers, your molecular dissolution units. Everything aboard your ship is designed for planetary sterilization." Dr. Vasquez leaned toward Sarah's ear. "Commander, I think I understand. To a silicon-based life form, our water-based life support systems would appear to be weapons. Water dissolves silicon compounds. What we call survival, they see as systematic destruction." Sarah felt the pieces falling into place. "Zenth, you're afraid of our water systems. Water is the universal destroyer," Zenth replied, the translator rendering obvious fear in the musical tones. It breaks down the fundamental bonds that hold matter together. The fact that your species not only survives exposure but requires daily immersion in this substance confirms what our archives warned us about. What archives? Sarah asked urgently. For a moment, Zenth hesitated. Then the crystalline being seemed to reach a decision. 12,000 of your years ago, our ancestors encountered another species. They called themselves by a name that translates as the Cleaners. Like you, they used the universal solvent as their primary life support mechanism. They claimed to come in peace. The main screen shifted to show ancient Kilari recordings. Sarah watched in horror as planet after planet was shown in various states of dissolution. Crystalline cities melted away, leaving behind scared, lifeless worlds. They purified 17 worlds before our fleets could stop them, Zenth continued. Not through malice, but through their very existence. Everywhere they established colonies, the native silicon-based life was gradually dissolved away. They called it terraforming. We called it genocide. Sarah stared at the images. The destroyed world showed clear signs of water erosion on a massive scale. Suddenly, humanity's history of Earth took on a terrifying new context. Humans had always been successful because they could survive in environments hostile to other forms of life. They cleared forests, drained swamps, diverted rivers, all to make the world more suitable for water-based life. We're not the same species, Sarah said desperately. We never encountered your people before today. Your biological signatures are nearly identical, Zenth replied. Carbon-based, water-dependent, requiring oxygen for metabolic processes. Most damning of all, you carry purification chambers aboard your vessel and expose yourselves to the universal solvent daily. You are either the same species or their engineered descendants. Chief Engineer Bradley's voice crackled over the intercom. Commander, I'm reading massive energy buildups across the Kilari fleet. Whatever we're going to do, we need to do it fast. Sarah realized they were out of time for explanations. The Kilari had already decided that humanity represented an existential threat to all silicon-based life in the galaxy. No amount of reasoning would change 12,000 years of fear and historical trauma. All hands, prepare for emergency jump to hyperspace, Sarah ordered. Tom, can we make it back to Earth? It'll take everything we got, but yes. The question is whether they'll follow us. Sarah looked at the images of dissolved worlds still playing on the screen. The Kilari had good reason to fear. Humanity's expansion into space would inevitably lead to conflicts with silicon-based life forms. Every human colony would be seen as a potential threat, every terraforming project as an act of war. They'll follow us, she said grimly. We've just become the greatest threat they can imagine. The Endeavor shuddered as the hyperdrive engaged, tearing them away from the Kilari fleet. But Sarah knew this was only the beginning. As they raced through hyperspace toward Earth, she began composing the most important message in human history. Priority transmission to Earth Command, she began recording. First contact has been established, but not as we hoped. Humanity has been identified as a species similar to ancient destroyers of worlds. We are not seen as explorers or diplomats, but as harbingers of planetary purification. The alien species known as the Kilari consider our basic life support systems to be weapons of mass destruction. Sarah paused, looking around the bridge at her crew. They were good people, explorers and scientists who had dreamed of reaching the stars. Now they were returning home as the advance guard of an accidental war. Earth Command, the Kilari possess technology far beyond our current capabilities. They can track our movements and likely know the location of our home system. Based on their historical records, they will not negotiate or attempt peaceful coexistence. They view our species as an extinction-level threat to all silicon-based life. The terrible irony wasn't lost on her. Humanity had spent centuries learning to live in harmony with their own planet, developing sustainable technologies and reducing their environmental impact. But to species evolved under completely different conditions, everything about human biology and technology appeared designed for world-ending destruction. Recommend immediate mobilization of all defensive fleets and implementation of Omega Protocol planetary defenses. The enemy will likely arrive within days. We tried to bring back knowledge and friendship from the stars. Instead, we're bringing war. As the message transmitted toward Earth, Sarah looked at the readings showing their rapid approach to the Sol system. Behind them, she knew, would come the Kilari fleets, a species that had survived one encounter with purifiers 12,000 years ago, would not allow a second group to establish themselves and spread across the galaxy. Dr. Vasquez approached the command chair. "Commander, I've been analyzing the Kilari historical records they showed us. The species they fought before, the cleaners, their expansion pattern matches human colonization models almost exactly. Start with suitable worlds, modify the environment to support their biology, expand outward in waves. You're saying we really are like them." Not intentionally, but from a silicon-based perspective, human colonization would appear identical to what the cleaners did. We find worlds with water. We increase the water content through terraforming. We eliminate competing life forms that can't adapt to our environmental changes. Sarah closed her eyes. Earth's history was full of species that had been driven to extinction by human expansion. Most of it had been unintentional, simply the result of humans changing environments to suit their needs. But the Kilari had experienced the same process on a galactic scale, watching entire civilizations dissolve away as water-based life forms reshaped worlds. The irony was devastating. Humanity's greatest survival trait, their ability to thrive in conditions that killed other species, had made them the most feared destroyers in galactic history. "Time to Earth?" Sarah asked. 18 hours at current speed," Marcus replied. Sarah nodded. 18 hours to prepare humanity for a war they never wanted, against an enemy who had every reason to see them as monsters. As the Endeavor raced toward home, she began planning humanity's defense against an enemy that would show no mercy, because mercy toward purifiers meant the slow death of worlds. The age of human expansion into the cosmos had ended before it truly began. Now came the age of survival, where humanity would have to prove they deserved to exist in a universe that saw their very biology as a weapon of mass destruction. The war for humanity's right to live among the stars was about to begin.